Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम हरि ओम तत्सत। Hare Krishna. So welcome everybody to the second session of this Navavidha Bhakti series. The title for today's discussion is Kirtanam, and I'm very happy to be here amidst all of you. Hoping that I will get some more enthusiasm by the word Kirtanam means glorification. Today I'm trying to glorify glorification, and I'm hoping that I will get some more enthusiasm in the practice of my own sadhana by glorifying Kirtanam today. So before we start, just little audience poll. What is Kirtanam? Can we just have some interaction, some touch base understanding? Kirtanam, what is Kirtanam? Somebody told today's class is on Kirtanam. Oh wow, I'll come. 2 hours Kirtan will be there. Next class is Vishnu Smaranam. The speaker can come and just try to remember Lord Vishnu for 2 hours and then just go away. So convenient. So what is Kirtanam? To glorify the Lord, okay. Sorry? Chanting the holy names of the Lord is also Kirtanam. Any other version of Kirtanam? Yes?
Singing about the name of the Lord and also singing the pastimes in the
Basically chanting and singing the name, form, qualities, pastimes of the Lord. Correct? Very good. How many of you knew that memorizing the verses and reciting and repeating those verses is also Kirtanam? Prabhupada tells in one of his purports. When you hear about the Lord and when you try to memorize it and then repeat it, that is also Kirtanam. Any other possibility or any other definition of Kirtanam? Is book distribution Kirtan? Srila Prabhupada said that his books are recorded Kirtans. What are they? Recorded Kirtans. So books are nothing but the glorification of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And when we distribute these books, it is like distributing recorded Kirtans. That is also a part of Kirtanam. Yeah, these are some of the definitions of Kirtanam. But primarily, when we talk about Kirtanam, we refer to chanting of the holy name and chanting of the name, form, qualities and pastimes of the Lord. This is the primary understanding of Kirtanam. Is it possible to do Kirtanam without Shravanam? So without Shravanam it is not possible. So therefore Shravanam is the precursor to Kirtan. So let's start today's discussion. I have structured today's discussion in the following way. First we will discuss the Kirtan Tattva. What is Kirtan? And we'll see from various angles, from Bhagavad Gita, from Bhagavatam, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, from conversations, from letters, etc., etc. So we'll try to understand the Kirtan Tattva. So the subcategories for today's discussion are, we'll discuss who is the most learned person and what are his symptoms. Then we will briefly discuss all the 9 angas of bhakti, of which Kirtanam is one and Shravanam we covered in the previous week. After that, we will discuss, we'll go a little bit into the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. What is needed to chant the holy names? What is the qualification of chanting these holy names? What are the benefits of chanting Hare Krishna? A little bit we will discuss. If we do some offenses in the process of kirtan, is there any way to atone it? If yes, how? If no, then what to do? When will kirtan become successful? That we will discuss today. And then we will see the results of kirtan. If your kirtan is happening properly, what will be the outcome of it? And then in the end, we will see what are the warnings or the don'ts which are there in the process of doing kirtan. We will try to understand how kirtan is the direct darshan of the Lord. So this is the kirtan tattva, so much. And once this is done, if time permits, we will actually do some clear kirtan. We will actually glorify the Lord. We'll pick up some pastimes, if time permits, and then we will try to go deep and relish what I've decided to discuss. If time permits, then I'll discuss the letter of Mother Rukmini, some of the pastimes of Varahadev, because Varahadvadashi is coming, and some more if time permits. So are you all ready? Are you ready? Okay, very good. Kirtanam, the title for today's discussion is Kirtanam, the glorification of the Lord. Where did this whole concept of 9 angas of bhakti come from? Navavida bhakti. Who can tell me? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam. Not Sakhyam. Sakhyam is something else. Sakhyam is something else. So Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So where did this come from? Very good. So the whole point or the whole reference point of today's discussion is this verse. You can note down 7, 5, 23, 24, Srimad Bhagavatam. Iti pumsar pito Vishnu bhaktis chen navalakshana. These are the 9 symptoms or the 9 ways in which bhakti can be rendered. And kriyeta bhagavatyadha tanmanye dhitamuttamam. Very carefully listen to the translation of this. Hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, that is Shravanam and Kirtanam, remembering them, Vishnu Smaranam, serving the Lord's lotus feet under the time, place, and circumstances, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming His servant, considering Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto Him. When we talk about surrender, we refer to about 3 things: Kaya, Vacha, and Manasa. Body, mind, and words, primarily. These 9 processes should be accepted as pure devotional service. Devotional service can be done in direct ways and indirect ways also. But the direct ways of pure devotional service are these 9. Navavida Bhakti. Now, the topic with which I started the discussion was who is the most learned person and what are his symptoms. Do you think you're learned? Do you think you're learned? Actually, all of you are. Because this translation says, one who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods. What are the 9 methods? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So one who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person. So all of you are most learned persons. Why? Because he has acquired complete knowledge. So the process of acquiring the completion of knowledge is to dedicate your life to serve Krishna. How to serve Krishna? By doing these 9 activities. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So it's very easy. You can claim that I am the most learned person and I have the complete knowledge of the whole creation. Why? Because for me, doing these pure devotional activities are the highest priority in life. That's all, nothing else. It's very important how Prahlad Maharaj is talking to Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu is said to be, what are we doing? We're trying to switch it off. HDMI is not needed today. Switch it off and remove it. Finish it off. So it's very important how Prahlad Maharaj is in the vicinity of a demon, his father Hiranyakashipu, who is about to kill him, and he's telling this, that you are not the most learned person. Just before this incident, Hiranyakashipu is being greeted by all the great celestials of the universe. Even Narad Muni is offering his pranams to Hiranyakashipu. And immediately after that, Prahlad Maharaj comes and says, you are not the most learned person. The most learned person is he who is rendering pure devotional service. Now let's try to understand, keeping this definition in mind, that by executing these Navavidha Bhakti, I will achieve complete knowledge and complete perfection, and I will practically be the most learned person. Keeping this in mind, let's try to understand what are these 9 angas, briefly, very briefly. So Shravanam, I'll just define what Srila Prabhupada writes. Shravanam refers to giving oral reception to the holy name and description of the Lord's form, qualities, entourage and pastimes as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and other authorized scriptures. Shravanam means this. Once I asked one of my friends that, Prabhuji, are you hearing any lectures of Srila Prabhupada these days? He said no. But then he took a pause and he said that these days when I chant, I hear the holy names. I said, Arey, aisa karne se kaise hoga? You have to hear lectures also. So he told me, no, hearing the holy names is also Shravanam. And at that time I was like, Arey, aisa thodi hota hai. But then it is a fact that simply by hearing the holy name also, advancement will happen. Definitely it will happen. So the primary Shravanam which we have to do is to hear our own japa. When that is happening, Shravanam doesn't mean that I have to go and sit in some Bhagavad Katha only. That is Shravanam. No. Shravanam begins with our japa. This is something which we all should remember and all should follow. The most important or the most reliable activity for advancement in spiritual life is Shravanam of our own chanting. Most of the problems can be solved, whether material or spiritual, simply by sincerely hearing our own japa. So that is the first step in Shravanam. And once you do this, in order to maintain the enthusiasm in your japa, we have to hear about the forms, qualities and pastimes of the Lord. So that completes our Shravanam. And then Srila Prabhupada says, after orally receiving such messages, one should memorize these vibrations and repeat them. That is Kirtanam. Smaranam means trying to, what is the meaning of Smaranam? Remembering? Remembering, but it's very difficult to classify it. Someone can just sit in one place and go and sleep for 2 hours and then get up, 2 hours I have remembered Vishnu. I did Smaranam. Very interestingly, Srila Prabhupada translates Vishnu or defines Smaranam as trying to understand more and more about the Supreme Lord. This is Smaranam. There is some special gift at the end, for all of you, a gift at the end of the session. Okay, so Smaranam means trying to understand more and more about Krishna. So when you read the Bhagavad Gita and when you sit down in some place and try to understand what Srila Prabhupada has said, what Krishna has said, what Arjuna asked, why he asked. This is Smaranam. When you try to reflect upon how kind Krishna was in such and such activity, that is Smaranam. Basically, understanding Krishna and the devotees of Krishna and the pastimes of Krishna in a scientific way is called Smaranam. Padasevanam means engaging oneself in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord according to time and circumstances. Now, how many of you think you will serve the lotus feet of the Lord? First, you will say, I need to first touch the lotus feet. But in Prabhu, when we come in the temple here, we can't touch. Lotus feet is like flat. How do I massage it? How do I apply oil on it? How do I, do anything? How will you do Padasevanam? Tulsi Maharani, you serve Tulsi Maharani, and that way you will do Padasevanam. Very good. It's a good way. This is something very important to learn. The dust coming from the lotus feet of the Lord is as good as the Lord's lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada defines in the 4th canto that when a pure devotee speaks about the Lord, does kirtanam about the Lord, his voice is going and touching the saffron dust particles in the lotus feet of the Lord, and his voice carries that spiritual awakening effect. So when we hear from pure devotees who are speaking about Krishna, because their speech contains the saffron dust particles of the lotus feet of the Lord, and because that is not different from Lord's lotus feet, that is also Padasevanam. So that is why Srila Prabhupada very nicely defines this Padasevanam as engaging oneself in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord according to time and circumstances. In the 3rd canto of Bhagavatam, when Lord Vishnu is talking to the 4 Kumaras, he says that my lotus feet have such purifying effect that wherever they go, all sinful reactions are completely eradicated. So wherever the Lord is, that is Vrindavan. That is the place where Hari resides. That is Hari Kshetra. So when you serve a place, a tirtha of the Lord, that is also Padasevana. For example, all the temples of Srila Prabhupada are places of Lord Hari. They are Hari Kshetras. So when you serve the temple of the Lord, that is also Padasevana. Don't you think so? So that's why Prabhupada said according to time and circumstances. One should not say that I have to become like Mother Lakshmi only, pressing the Lord's lotus feet. That may be there, may not be there. But according to time and circumstances, we have to do. Archanam means deity worship. What is the importance of Archanam in spiritual life? Why should I do Archanam? Why can't I just go on chanting the holy name of the Lord and go back home, back to Godhead? Why should I do deity worship? We say Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Haridas Thakur never was seen doing deity, any duty worship. He just planted one tulsi plant and sat there and chanted whole day. Why should we do Archanam? Why not just I'll stay with Shravanam and Kirtanam, no Archanam? To meditate on the form, but Smaranam you are doing, you are trying to understand, you are reading Prabhupada's books. Ho raha hai Smaranam.
When do Archana, we'll see the full body. So when we can able to...
Yes, but when I will read the description of Krishna from Bhagavatam, that time in the core of my heart also I am seeing the body. That is not imaginary. Reading the Bhagavatam and meditating on the verses of Bhagavatam is not imagination, that is the truth. That is the truth. Purification of heart. How?
Chanting also purifies us, but in the material condition of life, we are so contaminated that we need to do something extra. So by offering the e-lamp to the deity, like meditating on the form at the time of deity worship, that actually cleanses us from inside.
Yes, that's a appropriate answer. Yes, Mataji, you wanted to add?
Yes, so deities are the merciful incarnation of the Lord and they accept our services through the deities. So we must worship.
Very good. Some nice answers are coming. At one point of time, there was one very, a very sincere, serious disciple of Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He teamed up with His Holiness Vishnujan Swami Maharaj, and they were going from one temple to another temple and recruiting all the brahmacharis and the full-time devotees to join their book distribution party. Literally, they were kidnapping. They were very advanced and they were very attractive. They were very advanced in Krishna consciousness. So wherever they used to go and appeal, people used to leave the temple and go with them. So all the temple presidents complained to Srila Prabhupada that this Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Vishnujan Maharaj, they are making temple administration horrible. Yesterday we had 20 devotees with us. Today we have 2. Where did everybody go? They went with Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So Srila Prabhupada called Tamal Krishna Maharaj and gave him 2 options. That either you sit under a tree and chant Hare Krishna for 24 hours a day, or you go to China and open a preaching center. What do you think Tamal Krishna Maharaj chose? He went to China. So this is in relevance to the point which Prabhu said, that we are contaminated. We can't just sit and do chanting whole day. We need to do something which is not sinful and at the same time which will help us in our japa. So Archanam is important. Deity worship or Archanam leads to purification of the heart or purification of the character, and it pacifies the mind also. Those who do not do deity worship, it will be difficult for them, even after reading all Srila Prabhupada books, to accept that Krishna is a person and he has a personal form. It has been seen and observed. Deity worship forces one to be very clean, both physically as well as on the subtle platform. So it pacifies the mind. Whenever we see any material beauty around us, our mind gets agitated. But when we see spiritual beauty of Krishna, all lusty nature and agitations, they get settled down. That is the difference between spiritual beauty and material beauty. When you see a material beauty around you, you will have desires, attachment, agitations. Spiritual beauty, all material, bodily and subtle distresses will go away. So therefore it is very necessary to take darshan of the Lord every day. It is very necessary to do some kind of seva to the Lord every day. So therefore Lord Chaitanya, even he himself, every day in Puri, he used to go and take darshan of Jagannath. Wherever, he is God, but wherever he used to be, he used to wake up and in the Brahma Muhurta time, he used to go and take darshan. And then for a huge part of his time stay in Puri, he had some Shalagram Shilas and Govardhan Shilas, not Shalagram, Govardhan Shilas, which he used to worship, which he later gave to Raghunath Das Goswami. So Archanam is very important. Even Lord Ram used to worship deities. Lord Krishna used to worship deities. From our perspective, after a certain stage of Shravanam and Kirtanam, it is difficult to advance further without Archanam. So Archanam is necessary. Next is Vandanam. Vandanam means what? Srila Prabhupada defines Vandanam means offering respectful obeisances. So whenever you come to the temple, offer obeisances at the door to all the devotees, then to Srila Prabhupada, then to Bhagwan and the paraphernalia of Bhagwan. This is Vandanam. And Vandanam also means offering prayers. 2 meanings. You offer prayers. You learn the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, learn the prayers of Bhishma, learn the prayers of Queen Kunti and recite it. That is also Vandanam. But it also comes with offering respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami used to offer, it was, an anga of his sadhana, just like we have a sadhana of 16 rounds, 4 regulative principles, X, Y, Z. So his anga of sadhana was offering 1000 obeisances every day. So simply by offering obeisances, he became the most pleasing personality to Lord Chaitanya. Can we, yes?
Maybe I'm lost in the difference in Archanam versus Vandanam.
Archanam means doing deity worship. Arch Vigraha Upasana. By offering 16 items, Dhoop, Deep, Naivedya, etc., etc. And Vandanam means offering obeisances, Dandavat Pranam, and offering prayers. Prayers from Bhagavatam, prayers from Bhagavad Gita. That is Vandanam. Whenever someone starts thinking that I am a Nitya Krishna Das, that is called to be the Dasyam platform. Jivera Swarup hai Krishnera Nitya Das. Dasyam platform is not an ordinary platform. Only when somebody has understood that they are not the body but the spirit soul. How to test that whether I have understood that I am not the body and I am the spirit soul? How do you test this? Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma na Shochati na Kamshati. Samaha Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Lavate Param. One can analyze, is there any hankering in my heart for something which I don't have? Or is there any lamentation or any fear or anxiety that I will lose something? Any desires, dualities? If yes, that means till now I have not understood that I am not the body and I am the spirit soul. Till now I have not understood. Theoretically I have understood. But Krishna says, Evam yo veti tattvataha. You have to scientifically understand. Bhagavad Gita or Krishna consciousness is jnana vijnana sahitam. It cannot be just jnana. It has to be vijnana, realized knowledge also. So as long as there is some element of hankering, lamentation, desires, that means I have not understood that I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. Give me some time here. This reminds me of the incident of Narad Muni. Daksha Prajapati had 10,000 children. That was just like the Yuga Dharma now is chanting. So in the beginning of the day of Brahma, the Yuga Dharma was to do progeny, populate the universe. So Daksha Prajapati was the superstar. All the other people, Kashyap Muni and all, and not Kashyap Muni, our father of Kapil Muni, who is he? Kardam Muni and all, producing 8 children, 9 children. How will the universe be populated? Daksha Prajapati was a superstar, 10,000 children. And then when 10,000 children were born, he sent them that, okay, now you have to do progeny. I did my job, now you have to do your job. You have to get married, so go and do tapasya first. And Narad Muni comes there. And then he says a riddle which contains 5 elements, which I am not going to discuss now. And he tells them that you please meditate on this. And after meditating on the riddle of Narad Muni, they all take sannyas. 10,000 people, they take sannyas, one shot. And Daksha Prajapati becomes very disturbed. My son went into bad association. He should have enjoyed life. And after enjoying life, when the material nature would have beaten the pulp out of him, and when my sons would have understood that there is no enjoyment possible in this world, then they should have taken sannyas. Because by that time I would have enjoyed with them, no? So Daksha Prajapati somehow tolerated it, and then he produced another 1,000 sons. Again, he sent them for tapasya. Narad Muni again came. My dear, you should follow in the footsteps of your elder brothers. 1,000 people again took sannyas. They used to go and never come back only. So this time Daksha Prajapati became fully bewildered. He went to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma said, see, this is okay. The aim of life is to go back home, back to Godhead. If they have achieved the aim, then progeny is secondary. So you should not tell anything to Narad Muni. You do one thing, this time you don't produce male children, this time you produce female children. And according to Varnashram, females cannot do this sannyas and all. So then Narad Muni will not interfere. So he said, okay. So then he produced some female children. But before that, Narad Muni came to meet Daksha Prajapati also. And Daksha Prajapati, not understanding that Narad Muni is the principal instrument of Krishna and whatever he does is the will of Krishna, not understanding that it was Krishna's desire that those 11,000 souls should, other than taking a D-track or a detour, they should immediately run and go back home, back to Godhead. He started cursing Narad Muni and behaving badly with Narad Muni and said so many provoking things to Narad Muni. But Narad Muni, although he had the capacity to counter curse, did not do that. He just folded his hands and walked away. And Shukdev Goswami says that this is the meaning of being a sadhu. So one who has understood that I am the servant of Krishna will behave like this. This is the meaning of Nitya Krishna Das. I am doing anything and everything for the service of Krishna. Sometimes when I serve Krishna, glorification will come to me, and sometimes infamy will also come to me. And both I have to accept as prasad. The activities of pure devotee is hardly understood by others. If somebody will analyze the activities of Narad Muni, in case of Krishna Leela, he comes and tells Kamsa. He takes a lotus flower and he says, which is the first petal and which is the 8th petal? Kamsa said, I don't know. So similarly, you don't know how the demigods are counting, so better kill all. All children of Vasudev. So one can accuse Narad Muni of infanticide. He caused many, many children to die. Earlier Kamsa had decided, I'll leave the 7, I'll kill the 8th. But because of Narad Muni's pushing, all 7 children died. So if you look at from this angle, Narad Muni is, a part of the sin of killing those 6 children. But that is our miscalculation, because this is the desire of the Lord. Lord Narad Muni wanted that Krishna's ascent should be accelerated. He should come faster. Also, there were many devotees who were really troubled by Kamsa and they wanted some pacification. So for them, Krishna had to come. So there are many reasons. Vasudev and Devaki would have thanked for the rest of their life to Narad Muni because he created such incidents so that Krishna had appeared. So somebody can misunderstand, but whether we understand or misunderstand, being a devotee of Krishna means you have to be above the bodily platform. Even our Jada Bharat, when he is carrying the palanquin of the king, what is the name of the king? Brahuguna. Brahuguna is scolding Jada Bharat. You idiot, you donkey, you bull, how you are carrying, you don't even know how to walk. I am your king, you are my subject, you should follow my instructions and this and that and this and that. But Jada Bharat didn't get agitated. And when the king asked him that why you didn't get agitated, he said that I know you are not talking to me, you are talking to my body. So Nitya Krishna Das means above the bodily platform and heart is always dedicated to serve Krishna. That is Dasyam platform. And then in the end comes Sakhyam and Atmanivedanam. Sakhyam means to be a well-wisher of Krishna. The purpose which Krishna has, I make that as my own purpose. In common language we can say, one should try to preach the philosophy and requesting everybody to become a devotee of Krishna. That is called Sakhyam. How you can do Sakhyam? Try to understand Krishna consciousness and try to preach Krishna consciousness. And Atmanivedanam means offering everything, body, mind, intelligence, to the service of Krishna. So out of these Navavidha Bhakti, 7 you can follow from today. But this Sakhyam and Atmanivedanam will take time. You cannot just immediately start. Srila Prabhupada says, generally the great acharyas who preach devotional service all over the world belong to the category of Sakhyam and Atmanivedanam. Beginners in devotional service like me, we do not belong in this category. Sakhyam and Atmanivedanam. A neophyte devotee cannot actually become a preacher. The neophyte is advised to execute devotional service in the 7 other fields, from Shravanam to Dasyam. If one can successfully execute the preliminary 7 items, then in future he will come on the platform of Sakhyam and Atmanivedana. These are not easy platforms. This will take time. Sakhyam and Atmanivedam, they happen definitely after Anartha Nivritti, after Ruchi, after Asakti, mainly at the level of Bhava and Prema. That is Sakhyam Atmanivedam. So when one sincerely tries to perform all these 9 angas of bhakti, or the 9 processes of devotional service, then they can say that I'm practicing bhakti yoga. So this is the brief of all the Navavida bhakti. And today we are going to focus on Kirtanam. In the beginning of the discussion, we understood that Kirtanam means basically chanting the holy names and glorifying the name, form, qualities, pastimes of the Lord. So when it comes to chanting of the holy name, are all of you chanting Hare Krishna every day? Those who are chanting, please raise your hands. Very, very good. I'm just seeing. Yes. One of the offenses against the holy name is to glorify the holy name to those people who don't have faith in the holy name. So because all of you are chanting, so I can freely glorify and I can discuss the holy name. Because all of you are the chanters. All of you are the sages of Kali Yuga. You are all chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Lord Chaitanya knows that the people of Kali Yuga will have no desire to chant the holy name. So the first verse of Shikshashtakam tells the benefits of chanting the holy name. He has decoded or encoded 7 benefits of chanting the holy name in the first verse of Shikshashtakam. That will give us motivation. I will just mention them and then we'll move further in the discussion about chanting. Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhavamaha Davagni. So these are the benefits. Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam Shreyah Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. 7 benefits of chanting the holy name are as follows. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Lord Chaitanya uses an analogy where he says that there is a mirror which is covered by dust. 30 kilometers of dust is there on this mirror. Yes, she has repeated, so it is correct. So 30 kilometers of dust, how will you clean? Lord Chaitanya says that the only method of cleaning, when the dust is removed from the mirror, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, then you can see your Swarupa. You can try to understand who you are. And what is this dust? This dust is basically lust, anger, greed, illusion, enviousness, attachments, the upashakhas of bhakti, like desire for puja, labha, mana, pratishtha, kutinati, jiva, himsa, etc., etc. Everything which is unwanted or which has become an obstacle in my path of bhakti is lying on this mirror. And this mirror of the heart has to be cleansed. So one has to chant Hare Krishna. So the first benefit of chanting Hare Krishna is heart becomes cleansed and then one realizes who they are. The second benefit of chanting the holy name is Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. This hankering and lamentation will go away. How many of you are at the present moment in some anxiety? I think all of you should raise your hand. I will also raise my. This is the nature of the material world. It's a forest fire. A forest fire of material anxiety. Now because we have got so used to this anxiety that we feel anxiety is normal. होना ही चाहिए. Anxiety नहीं होगा तो how will I exist? The people who are not anxious, we call them mad. पागल है. So Krishna says, Lord Chaitanya says, Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. He doesn't say that you will not have any anxiety in your heart. He says, your material anxieties will be swapped with spiritual anxieties. Because anxiety has to be there. Soul means it has to be active and activity means anxiety. So right now I am materially anxious. But when I remove this material anxiety and replace it with some spiritual anxiety, anxiety to serve Guru, anxiety to serve Krishna, then that anxiety is very blissful from inside. Very blissful. That anxiety makes you the happiest person. In the Nectar of Devotion, it is mentioned one of the symptoms of Srimati Radharani is high blood pressure. But that high blood pressure is not the high blood pressure which my friends have. That's a different kind of blood pressure. In the material world, the high blood pressure, if we have, our brain will have suffered from a stroke and nerves will come out. But when you take anxiety for Krishna, that is a different kind of bliss. It is my desire that we should have this bliss at the time of death and also throughout the life. When in the Lilamrit, Prabhupada Lilamrit, it is mentioned that when Srila Prabhupada was quitting his body, at one point of time, the Ayurvedic doctors, they came and they said the reason of his sickness. They said that one of the reasons of his sickness is anxiety about the spiritual advancement of his disciples. So this is spiritual anxiety. And don't think that is very miserable, that is very blissful. Mother Yashoda is ready to die 1000 times to prevent one drop of sweat coming from the head of Krishna. This is called spiritual anxiety. Dying 1000 times to prevent one sweat from Krishna's head. And so therefore Mother Yashoda is the happiest person. So Lord Chaitanya says, when you chant Hare Krishna, your material anxieties will be swapped by spiritual anxieties. And then you will become a happy person. So these are the first two benefits. Cheta Darpanavajnam, Bhav Maha Davagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Basically this means that the good fortune, just like only under the cooling light of a full moon, in the night time a white lotus blooms. I don't know how many of us have seen a white lotus, but there are something called as white lotuses. This white lotus, just like Mother Lakshmi keeps carrying a lotus in her hand, that represents good fortune. So Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. We are there in a forest fire. We are running from here and there. But now that the forest fire has extinguished, so we are feeling very cool. Under the bliss or under the shelter of the holy name, we start feeling very peaceful, very sheltered, very protected and maintained. We become fearless. Under the cooling shade of the holy name, we become fearless and our fortune starts rising. The Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that the rising of fortune means cultivation of all good qualities which belongs to the category of demigods. That means all good qualities, the desire to cultivate all good qualities will come. Bhava Maha Davag Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitranam. Then Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. The literal translation of the word Vidya Vadhu Jivanam means life of the wife of knowledge. Again, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that generally the wife follows in the footsteps of her husband. So transcendental knowledge and detachment from the material world, Vidya Vadhu Jivanam, they will come naturally. The fourth benefit of chanting the holy name is Jnana and Vairagya will automatically come in your life. Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. Then what will happen? Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. One will experience uncontaminated bliss. Have you seen the children playing? Do you remember yourself playing in the childhood? Chinta Rahit Khelna Kudna. But that was ignorance. You didn't know aage kya rakha hai life mein. But imagine you have the same uncontaminated bliss, and which is not ignorance but full knowledge. I would like to give an example again from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, one of the greatest Vedantists of India, very serious personality, grave. All the sannyasis used to come and take tuition from him. When he got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and when he started chanting the holy names of the Lord, he used to often go with Lord Nityananda and our Advaita Acharya and others and participate playing water games in the Ganges. So in one point of time, people are telling to Lord Chaitanya that these are great scholars, these are like acharyas, why they are playing like kids? Actually, Lord Chaitanya asks this question, that these are great acharyas, they are supposed to, lead the society and they are supposed to, have a grave character. Who will respect them if they behave like a child in public like this? So at that time, one of the devotees comments that this is your mercy, my Lord. By your mercy, even the most aristocratic man becomes purified at heart, and Anandam Buddhivardhanam happens. They experience unlimited bliss in their heart. What is the symptom of a happy person? It will come out, right? They'll sing, they'll dance, they'll jump. A happy person cannot be just crying all the time. Of course, in separation of Krishna, they can be crying. So that is what happens. Anandam Buddhivardhanam. Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. Our heart has been hankering for some satisfaction, some feeling of stable happiness, some feeling of experiencing love in a relationship which is unmotivated, uninterrupted, some feeling of reciprocation. We are all craving for it. So Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam means every day in your practice of Krishna consciousness, your practice of Krishna consciousness will not become mechanical and hackneyed. Every day, Krishna will give newer and newer realizations to you, simply if you remain sincere in this practice of Krishna consciousness. And when you will appreciate newer and newer glories of Krishna and the holy name every day, you will be thrilled. All the time you will be thrilled. And Purna Amrita Swadanam, you will experience full nectar. And then you will not do window shopping or YouTube shopping or anything like that. And then Sarvatma Snapanam. Your soul will be bathed in ecstasy. And then once the soul is bathed, all the gross and the subtle impurities are removed. Just like when you have bath, all the impurities go away. Similarly, you will be fully purified. No subtle impurities, no gross impurities, nothing. You will be a pure soul. So these are the 7 benefits of chanting the holy name. Who remembers it? All of you heard, no? Let's try to revise. What's the first benefit? Cheto Darpana Marjanam. What happens? Heart will be cleansed. Second, Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. Anxiety will? Anxiety will not go away. I'm not making false promises here. Material anxiety will be swapped by spiritual anxiety. Then? Okay, good fortune will come, which means basically good habits, good practices will come. After that, knowledge and renunciation will automatically come. Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. And then?
Ananda.
Okay, you'll experience unlimited happiness. Then? All subtle and gross impurities will be removed. One you have missed.
Whereas newer realizations, more and more.
Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadam. Yes. And then when all this will happen, what you will do? Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. You will engage in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that will happen, and all this, for all this, it is very necessary to be humble first. Therefore, in the Kirtanam, one of the most important angas of Kirtanam is Tranad api sunichena taror iva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtanya sadaharihi. What does this mean? One has to be more humble than a blade of grass. We often say that not even a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. That means we have to understand that just like the blade of grass is under the complete control of the Lord, I am also under the complete control of the Lord. To understand this and act accordingly is called Tranadapi Sunichena. Taror iva sahishnuna, being more tolerant than a tree. That means being sadhu, just like Narad Muni. Amanina manadena. This means I should have no desire to be satisfied, or I should not seek satisfaction by receiving appreciation from others. In fact, I should be very eager to satisfy others, please others, glorify others. One of the important angas of mind control, those who want to have mind control, one of the things which a sadhaka should practice is that a sadhaka should create an environment of appreciation. That means if I want to control my own mind and I want people around me to have some mind control, then I should create a culture where everybody appreciates each other, not fakely, but genuinely. Because mind has this hankering, material mind has this hankering is there. Salute me, offer obeisances to me, give a garland to me. Even when we are trying to do kirtan, the kirtan is purely meant for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. But in the material condition, even when we do kirtan, we are like, at least two people should appreciate me. At least two people should tell, very nice, bro. This desire is there. At least one person should come after the class and say, very nice, bro. So this is not kirtanam. So in order to remove this kind of hankering, let's create a environment of appreciation. And my job in that, or my role in that environment is never lose an opportunity to appreciate others and glorify others. And don't seek any appreciation for yourself. Then you will be able to chant continuously Kirtanya Sadaharihi. And this is humility. Being more tolerant than a tree, being more humbler than a blade of grass, always appreciating others and not seeking any appreciation for the self, then you will be able to do Kirtanam, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is very important to understand that in the process of Kirtanam, there are some offenses. In the process of chanting the holy name, especially, there are some offenses. Strictly speaking, there are 10 offenses against the holy names of the Lord. How many of you know them? How many of you are not committing, let me ask a question. How many of you are not committing offenses while chanting the holy names of the Lord? All of you are committing. Wow, this is like a very, very serious situation.
Hard to answer because we do not know what this is.
Oh, you're not answering because you don't know what are the 10 offenses. Yeah, that's okay, that's fine. In one gathering, someone asked, the speaker asked, who all are not committing the 10 offenses against the holy name? Some 20, 30 people had raised their hand. I'm not committing any offense. So the speaker said, that means you are 100% committing. Because a person who is actually not committing offenses against the holy name, they will always be thinking that actually I'm committing offenses. So because none of you have raised your hand, so I'm assuming that none of you are committing the holy name, offenses against the holy name. But let's see what are these offenses. The first offense against the holy name of the Lord is to blaspheme a devotee who has dedicated their lives in propagating the holy names of the Lord. Second, what is the second offense?
Dhamma
Sorry?
Dhamma Shivaya
To consider the names of demigods like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva to be equal to or independent of the holy names of Lord Vishnu. Third, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master and considering him as an ordinary person. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literatures or literatures in persuasion or pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Sixth, to give some mundane interpretations to the holy names of the Lord. Seventh, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy names of the Lord. Eighth, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities or karma kanda. Ninth, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy names of the Lord. And tenth, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. And it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting Hare Krishna. These are the 10 offenses against the holy name of the Lord. Anybody who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses and quickly try to achieve the desired success of life, which is Krishna Prema. Very, very serious. Niraparad naam loye pave premadhan. Lord Chaitanya had delivered Jagai and Madhai because they had not done these 10 offenses. And they had not done any Vaishnava Aparadha. If we continue to call ourselves as devotees and continue these offenses, then we will continue chanting Hare Krishna for many, many lifetimes, still forget about Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam and Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. Nothing will happen. So it is very, very important that one should be very serious and sincere about the avoidance of these holy names, offenses against the holy names of the Lord. That is Kirtanam. That is very, very important. Someone may say, okay, I can't avoid, what to do? Any atonement is there? Any prayashchit is there? Today I committed one offense against the holy name. And what is the prayashchit now? So Srila Prabhupada says, there is no way to atone for any of these offenses. You cannot do any prayashchit. What is done is done. Then what to do? It is therefore recommended, because offenses against the holy name in a conditioned state are helpless. You helplessly commit offenses. You don't want to, but you're in such a state that you can't stop also committing offenses. So, it is therefore recommended that an offender at the feet of the holy name continue to chant the holy name 24 hours a day. Go on chanting. So what is the solution for Nam Aparadh? Chanting is the only solution for Nam Aparadh. But then Prabhu, you said that if I keep committing offenses and continue chanting, it is very bad. So yes, one should sincerely, seriously try not to commit offenses. If by nature it is happening, we have to just pray to Krishna. But otherwise, from our side, we should consciously try to avoid it. And if we continue chanting, constant chanting of the holy name will make one free of offenses. And then he will gradually be elevated to the platform of, transcendental platform on which he can chant the Shuddha Nam and become a lover of Krishna. So holy name is the process, holy name is the goal, holy name is the purifier. My spiritual master says that if we sit together in the association of devotees and chant Hare Krishna, then 8 out of these 10 offenses can be avoided. So therefore, it is my desire that every Saturday morning, we should all come together in ISKCON Bhakti Center here. We should engage in Archanam, Vandanam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, whatever. Attend the Mangalarti. And then at least for 1 hour, we should sit together and chant. We can have the Mangalarti starting, let's say at 4:30 or 5. And then from 5:45 to 6:45, we should all chant at least once in a week. And it will create a miracle in our life for two reasons. Number one, because in this way we will be able to do some offenseless japa. And number two, this is also an instruction given to us by one of the senior devotees, by Bhurjan Prabhu. He has ordered us that you come together and chant. And then we will see that our Kirtanam is improving and our Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam is happening. So let's try this. This is a proposal. So till now we have discussed who is the most learned and what are his symptoms. We have discussed all the 9 angas very briefly. We understood the 7 benefits of doing this Kirtanam. We understood what is the most important criteria, that is humility. We also understood the 10 offenses against the holy name of the Lord and how to atone for these offenses. Now, we have to see what is the result of doing this Kirtan and how to do this Kirtan. The process of doing Kirtan is that it has to be done under a bona fide spiritual master. Please understand, Kirtanam in itself or chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in itself is sufficient to go back home, back to Godhead. But to learn the art of offenseless Kirtanam and to learn the art of surrender, one needs a bona fide spiritual master. And without chanting offenseless Kirtan and without practicing Sharanagati, Shadanga Sharanagati Bhakti under the guidance of a devotee of Krishna, one cannot go back home, back to Godhead. So therefore, Kirtanam should be done under the guidance of a bona fide Guru. So Srila Prabhupada says in this regard, whatever the disciple possesses, he offers to the spiritual master who engages him in Shravanam and Kirtanam. The disciple follows strictly and in this way learns how to control his senses. Then, by using his pure intelligence, he gradually becomes a lover of Krishna. In this way, his life becomes perfect and his attachment for Krishna becomes positively manifested. In that stage, he is situated in ecstasy, experiencing bhava and anubhava as explained in the later verses. So from this we should conclude that our Kirtanam will become successful only when we do it under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The original spiritual master is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is no other spiritual master other than Lord Chaitanya. And those who are sincere followers of Lord Chaitanya, like Srila Prabhupada, they are also bona fide spiritual masters. We have to follow them and chant under their guidance. And Srila Prabhupada has always said, chant Hare Krishna 24 hours a day. So if I go on chanting, what is going to happen? What is the result of this chanting? A devotee is liberated in all stages of life because he is always engaged in the 9 items of devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy holds that devotional service to Krishna exists in everyone's heart. It simply has to be reawakened by the process of Shravanam and Kirtanam. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karaya Udaya. So when a person is actually engaged in devotional service, his eternal relationship with the Lord is awakened. So the result of Kirtanam along with Shravanam is that we will get Sambandha Jnana. We will have some connection with Krishna. A connection with Krishna is very important for Sadgati. Shishupal had some connection with Krishna. The connection which Shishupal had was that since the time he had taken birth, even when he could not speak properly, since that time only he is criticizing Krishna. That is his Sambandha. But that Sambandha was not a casual Sambandha. It was the only Sambandha he had. The only occupation which Shishupal had in his life was to criticize Krishna. And he used to see Krishna. He used to see Krishna has lotus eyes. This Pundarikaksha is very bad. So when he used to chant the holy name Pundarikaksha, purification used to happen. Then he used to see he's riding on Garuda. This Garud Dhwaja should not be here. Like that. This Madhava, this Keshava is a very bad person. And I'm not actually telling what Shishupal used to say. So he had some kind of a sambandha with Krishna. So Narad Muni glorifies in the 7th canto while talking to Yudhishthir Maharaj that everybody should have a sambandha with Krishna. Shishupal had such a negative sambandha with Krishna, but the result of that was he was liberated. It is described by Srila Rupa Goswami in Sri Laghu Bhagavatamrita that the death of Shishupal was not an ordinary death. It is something which even pure devotees aspire for. Because his mind was completely fixed on Krishna and he was constantly criticizing Krishna with so much intensity that in the process of criticizing Krishna, he used to take the names of Krishna. And that was slowly purifying his heart. However, at the time of death, when he got the saintly association of Sudarshan Chakra, so paraphernalia of Krishna are sadhus. When you do sadhu sangha, what happens? Anartha nivritti. So when the time of death, when he got the saintly association of the Sudarshan Chakra, he was completely eradicated of all the sins and sinful reactions. And at the time of death, when his heart was completely purified, while his neck is being cut by the Sudarshan Chakra, he saw the beautiful face of Krishna. And he surrendered at that moment and achieved love of God. Although it appeared externally that his soul came out and merged into the transcendental body of Krishna, but the Acharyas give explanation that the soul went inside the body of Krishna where Mahavishnu was residing, and this Shishupal, who was Jaya, started his service back. And when Krishna was going to his Nijadham, all the incarnations were going to their respective abodes, Jaya also came out with Mahavishnu and continued his seva. So Shishupal did achieve love of God. And Narad Muni, Yudhishthira is bewildered that how is this possible? He is a blasphemer. But Narad Muni explains that he says that Kamsa achieved Krishna through fear. Shishupal achieved Krishna through envy. The gopis achieved Krishna through conjugal love. Like that he gives various examples. And he says, general devotees like us, Narad Muni says, general devotees like us, we achieve Krishna through Kirtanam. So Kirtanam is very, very powerful. Narad Muni is very humble. But the point which I am trying to say is that when we do Kirtan, we understand what is my relationship with Krishna. Even Putana had managed to make a sambandha with Krishna. That's why she was sent to dispatched to the spiritual abode. Those who don't have a sambandha with Krishna, they are dispatched to Brahmajyoti when Krishna kills them. But those who can evoke a sambandha with Krishna, they will go back home, back to Godhead, attain their spiritual swarupa. And Kirtanam is most important activity to get that sambandha gyan. So the result of Kirtanam is sambandha. Now you say, Krishna is here. But when you do proper Kirtanam, you will say, my Krishna is here. This is the difference of Kirtanam. However, in the process of Kirtanam, there is a warning. Because people can get carried away while doing Kirtanam. There is a very nice reference in the first canto of Bhagavatam which tells us how not to do Kirtanam. And this warning has been given by Narad Muni himself. Narad Muni had, actually the Vedic literature tells us of 3 lives of Narad Muni. In the first life, he was a Gandharva. In the second life, he was the son of a Shudra woman. And in his third life, he became Narada. These are the 3 lifetimes of Narad Muni. So Narad Muni is telling his first life that when he was a Gandharva, once a great Vajpayee Yajna was going on, Daksha Prajapati was doing, and he was invited. Some great yajna was going on, and he was invited by all the demigods to come and glorify Krishna. But these Gandharvas, then what is their natural qualification? The Gandharvas are very good at singing, and they are very good looking also, and very knowledgeable and powerful also. So such kind of people, they always attract the attention of the opposite gender. So when Narad Muni came, at that time he was a Gandharva, when he started singing the glories of the Lord, many women came and sat around him. And many demigods also came. So while he was singing, he got carried away. All the girls were smiling, all the demigods were like, "Bahut acha, bahut acha." So occasionally, just for a moment or so, he glorified one of the demigods and one of the apsaras. By mistake. इसके पहले कि वो realize करते गलती हो चुका था. And because of that, he was cursed. It was said that you do not deserve to stay here in the association of demigods. And then he was cursed to lose all his opulence, lose all his beauty, lose all his everything, and take birth as the son of a Shudra. So therefore, Narad Muni is saying, or Srila Prabhupada warns there, as far as Kirtana is concerned, the Shastras say, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnuho. Shravanam and Kirtanam should be done only for Krishna or Vishnu and not for anyone else. One should chant the glories of the Supreme Lord and the holy name of the Supreme Lord. This is clearly stated. One should not chant the names or glorify any demigod, any Devi Devta also. That is an offense. Unfortunately, there are foolish persons who invent some process of Kirtana based on the basis of a demigod's name. Kirtana means glorifying the Supreme Lord and not any demigod. Sometimes people invent Kali Kirtan, Shiva Kirtan, Durga Kirtan, etc., etc. In South India, you have Ayyappa Kirtan and so many other Kirtans. So it is mentioned, sometimes people invent Kali Kirtan, Shiva Kirtan. There is no such thing as Kali Kirtan, Shiva Kirtan. There is only Hari Kirtan. You cannot do Kali Kirtan. You cannot do Durga Kirtan. You cannot do Ayyappa Kirtan. That is not Kirtan, that is an offense. And because of this offense, Narad Muni was cursed to become a son of a Shudra, and he didn't even know the name of his father. That was his wretched condition. And so the demigods don't think that if you are standing in front of the deity of Indra or Ganesha and you are doing some kirtan, they will be very liking it very much. No. They are all pure devotees of the Lord. They will be happier when you glorify Krishna in front of them. That is why every day we stand in front of Krishna and glorify the devotees of Krishna. Samsara dava nara leadha loka. We glorify Guru. So even the big sannyasis in the Mayavad school, they say that one may chant any name and still get the same result. But here we find that millions and millions of years ago, when Narad Muni was a Gandharva, he neglected the order to glorify the Supreme Lord, and being mad in the association of women, he began to chant otherwise. And thus he was cursed to become a Shudra. His first offense was that he went to join the Sankirtan party in the company of lusty women. And another offense was that he considered ordinary songs like cinema songs and other such songs to be equal to Sankirtana. For this offense, he was punished to become a Shudra. So Sankirtan means you should do it in the association of devotees. And you should not bring in cinema songs, and you should not sing mundane songs. Once I was seeing some Sankirtan, I did not understand. Later on someone explained me. They were doing Kirtan, and after every meter or so, they were doing like this. I don't know what this meant. So I asked one devotee what this means. So they said some movie has come out in which the hero does like this. So they are doing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. It's like, this is nonsense. So this is an offense. You cannot do this. Sometimes people sing the holy names in the same tune as some old movie songs. This is all an offense. There is a very great bhajan singer who drinks at least 30 ml of whiskey before every bhajan. And people, don't tell the names please, huh? We all know who he is. And so what he is doing is not kirtan or not sankirtan. That is some nonsense. And it is an offense. And he is going to suffer for what he is doing. But again, Krishna is very merciful. He may find some reason to help him. So kirtan basically is to not to be done in this way. So that brings end of the Kirtan Tattva. There is, I think, time for one small glorification. Do we have any questions?